Hi, people. Today, I wanted to bombard you upon the fact of my Kunaki collection. I'll try to hold this in place and show you all the little CDs and the little secrets and what can be found inside each CD. Honestly, Kunaki, pretty cool. They print your music. They get you, maximum of 25 tracks. Let you customize it any way you want. It's pretty cool. They ship it within about anywhere between a week, anywhere between a couple of days to like 2 weeks. I think the most I've ever waited was probably that 2 weeks. But let's just go ahead and get into the content. Yeah. So firstly, we have here the Sokena Test Records collection. Whoa. Why are we starting so off in your discography? I don't know. I was basically going by what I started off in the new band lab, and since I didn't want to pester my parents of money by buying 4 different CDs, I decided to get the Sokena Test Records collection, all just compiled together with a little bonus track. So there's the front of it. If you open it up, you get that, all of those, but with the big old fat disc right there. And then you get that exact thing, but in disc form. So, yeah, I just combined all the colors. It was super easy to do. And then if you look back here, you got the track list, Sugar Rushin', Tina Break Sample, Swing That Bass Remix, Disco Sauce Remix, Cassiopeia. You can't forget Lightning Detected. You can never forget Lightning Detected. A Change Perspective. And that little extra track you can see is that number 22 Sugar Rushing vocal mix, into which you can see the extra track pointing to it. You can see where I labeled all of those. So yeah, that was pretty nice. Sokena Test Records worked out pretty well, and yeah. So let's move to the next CD. As Wishes Combine. The basically mini L. This is the only CD that doesn't have a side printed with the name, so that's what kind of pesters me, but I still think it's a pretty nice CD. You get a little bonus track going along with it. Let's go ahead and open it up. I think that picture's pretty nice. The CD in itself is pretty cool too. And then on the back, you got Hope to Find, Si Solamente, I don't know how to say that anymore, Friday Weekend, and then you get a bonus track, Please, which was a single that was released not too long ago. So I think that's pretty awesome. Let's go ahead and move on to the next CD. Night of October 10th. Pretty cool, printed it pretty well. It's a tad bit dark, but I think that's mainly because of the lighting in here. We got this, and you open it up. Sometimes a little thing that can happen is that your picture decides, instead of printing normally like this, it prints this. That's fine. I don't really care. And then you got the pretty nice good old disc. And then, you got tracks like More and More Ideas, Halt, At Least It's Okay, Lost in Love, Forgiveness. And then I put a little extra bonus track, At Least It's Okay, early recording. So basically this without all the effects, and it's only 17 seconds, so it's basically the main guitar sample. There you can see the name on it. Also did it on the other side just in case, because, well, realistically you never know. So let's go ahead and move on to the next CD. Now, I was just listening to this one in my little Xbox here. This is Up X Blindness. Since I also didn't want to pester somebody about buying me 2 different CDs, I decided to throw these together. I think the album cover actually turned out pretty nice. You can see the Up X Blindness. I think I have to turn it this way. And start with Open Up. Open Up, you got the intro, Take On, Bump Into the Bass, my personal favorite. Open Up, my least favorite. And you're like, well, what about the intro track? At least it goes good. And then Magic Hour, which is, I think, probably a good ambient song. I mean, you look inside it, you get this, both of the tracks by themselves, not tracks, but album covers by themselves. And then you get the pretty old disc. So, it's pretty nice. Bump Into the Bass, I Have Entered Somewhere. That's also an ambient track. Blindness, Lenient, Letting Flow, In the Essence of Space. I think that pretty much worked out. So that was the November and December album. So let's go ahead and move on to the January album. And a pretty easy album cover to make. Techno songs made by Sokena. Now that is a pretty cool thing. I'm pretty sure that's like an eye catcher. It's like, whoa, hey, that CD right there, that looks pretty cool. Let me pick it up. Techno songs made by Sokena. That looks pretty nice. You know, you got songs like Running, Stitches, Critical, The Sky. I think Intelligence pretty nice, especially along with the breakbeats. I mean, you look in here, you get that for the what was originally the vinyl cover. Then you get this, you know, the little abbreviations. Not really much to say about this, except I think I did a pretty good job on the back. There's the Techno songs made by Sokena, so I think I did well on that. Let's go ahead and put you back there. And then my personal album cover favorite. Let's go ahead and look at that one. Notes make up as follow. This album cover, I think, is probably the best eye catcher out of the few, because it really reminds me of like what an 80s electronic album would look like, or something like rock that's supposed to really catch your attention. No, because you got songs like Punk, Super, like Remake, Bounce Remake, Two-Step Ripple, A Change, Perspective. Then you got the bonus track over that, which I think I didn't do too bad on. You know, you got this. Hey, McClanahan buddy, I want to make this CD so I can just plaster right here in the same spot. I told y'all it was coming soon. And then, you know, you got the disc, which is basically this, but plastered on the disc. So I think I did a pretty good job there. Nothing wrong I could realistically find with that. So let's go ahead and go to the next one, which is the March album. To be fair, it's not really an album. It's more like, you know, an ambient EP, because it only has 5 tracks. Half of Zero. I think I did a pretty good call on that lighting and thing. Here's it's big and plastered right there. Sokena, Half of Zero. You know, you look here. It did the sideways thing. It's supposed to be like this. And looked pretty nice. And then you got the big old fat Zero plastered right there. And then, you know, on the back, The Children We Always Worry About. And I decided for this CD, why not put the times? Like how long each song goes, you know. The Children We Always Worry About, 5 minutes, 20 seconds. That's the longest one on this album. Then you got We're on Different Sides, 149. Then you got It's Not That Time Yet, 157. Then Other Dimensions, 140. Then Hidden Origins Will Move Into the Void, 253. So, yeah, pretty nice. I'm pretty sure that album equaled out to be like 11 minutes or something like that. And, well, I guess let's move on to a step back into my little favorite genre, which is like, you know, house and techno. Systematic. I think I did a pretty good job on the album cover, especially because I expect it, if I get some light on it shining here. Yeah, you can see the little Xbox menu over there. But yeah, Systematic looks pretty nice. I think I did a really good job on the back cover though. And then there's Systematic, you know, how there's like a little, you know, thing over Systematic. I decided to do the same thing there. You can barely see it, but it's there. And then you open it up, you get what was originally the old album cover that I was going to use, but I decided not to use it because I figured out that my other one worked out a bit better. Then you got the CD right there, which was originally my profile picture for a little bit on BandLab, you know, after I released Half of Zero, because I was working on this album in the meantime. I put all songs made by Sokena, you know, because you got songs like Stitches V2, another thing. More and More Ideas, basically the second version from that night of October 10th. Stitches V2 coming back from the techno songs made by Sokena. I tried to find the same notes, but in a different rhythm. But then you have Lost and Found, Dynamical, Velvet Nights, and Fall Down. So that's the last one. Not the last one just yet. We're almost there. Let's go ahead and get to the last one. My friend's album. He did pretty well. The McClanahan Project. Looks super nice. I mean, it's got the McClanahan Project plastered right there. And right there. Oh, did I do that? I did. Oh, that sucks. Sometimes, if it's too close to the side, it'll, you know, kind of cut off your words. But, I mean, you're like, oh, well, yeah, this is the McClanahan Project because it says it over here, right? And then, you know, I decided, actually, McClanahan decided himself to throw 3 bonus tracks on it. I mean, you got the samples here, you know. Sokena Dreams, Nation, Luminescence, Lost in the Streets, Pixel, and Lightning Detected. And then you got all the single covers for every single song, and then you got the Eternal bonus track. I can see all through this. You got the Eternal bonus track right there, because you have 3 bonus tracks. Let's just name off a few notable ones. You got Help, Life Goals, Tidal Forces, a personal favorite of mine, Lonely Storm, Bloodbound, Emergency, Limits, Silence of Mind, The End, and then your bonus tracks are Eternal, Test 1, and then Storm Surge, which is basically a Lightning Detected remix, which I think is pretty nice. He did a pretty good job, and if you're wondering, hey, you're missing one album. Where's Can I Be Heard? It is on the way. It says it's going to be here the 2nd of June at this time of releasing. I'm not sure what time it is, but the 2nd of June is supposed to be here. And yeah, so personally, Kunaki did a pretty good job. I just took one of my old boxes that I already did for this and just decided to throw them all in here. This can only fit one more CD. So, oh, these can fit 10 CDs apiece. So, I just figured that out. Well, I thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for listening to me ramble on about Kunaki CDs. Kunaki, personally, a great app to use. And, make sure to check out the new album, Can I Be Heard, because that album is the freaking bomb. My favorite songs are Here and Now, Can I Be Heard, Get This, and Neon Nights. So, thank you all for listening to me, and goodbye.